Have you ever driven through a place so haunted that it sends chills down your spine? I'm here to share with you a tale so terrifying, it still keeps me awake on the darkest of nights. My name's Ethan, and my best friend Jake and I are bona fide road trip enthusiasts. We've traveled through bustling cities, serene countrysides, and winding mountain passes. But there's one journey that stands out, one that we didn't quite sign up for. Jake and I are always up for a thrill, and this time we decided to take a detour through a route that has a reputation for being, well, let's just say it's not your average scenic drive. This particular stretch of road is shrouded in mystery and macabre tales. The kind of place that's spoken about in hushed whispers, a place that even the bravest of hearts avoid after sundown. Enveloped by an eerie history and haunted reputation, this road was infamous for its paranormal occurrences and unexplained phenomena. Legends of apparitions, spectral lights, and the unsettling feeling of being watched were just the tip of the iceberg. We didn't intend to invite trouble, but the allure of the unknown was too strong to resist. We wanted to see for ourselves if there was any truth to these tales. We were young, fearless, and up for an adventure, or so we thought. As we revved up the engine and set off on our journey, we couldn't help but feel a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. The road ahead was dark, the shadows cast by the trees seeming to dance in the dim glow of our headlights. The silence was deafening, save for the occasional hoot of an owl or the rustling of leaves in the wind. We thought we were just in for an adrenaline rush. Little did we know, we were about to encounter the most terrifying experience of our lives. The sun had set, and we found ourselves on the infamous highway, a route shrouded in whispers of the eerie and the inexplicable. A sense of unease began to creep up on us, as if we were unwelcome trespassers, intruding upon the solitude of this haunted stretch of asphalt. As our journey began, the world around us took on an unsettling quality. It was as if the very air we breathed was tinged with a cold, ethereal energy, the temperature dropping sharply as we ventured deeper into the highway. A chill ran down our spines, a tangible reminder of the spectral stories associated with this road. Our headlights flickered intermittently, casting eerie shadows that danced like phantoms across the road. The road signs, bathed in the intermittent light, seemed to glimmer with an otherworldly glow, as if warning us of the unseen dangers lurking in the darkness. The radio, which had been playing cheerful tunes, suddenly went silent, succumbing to the overwhelming aura of the haunted highway. The only sound that remained was the steady hum of our car engine and the soft rustle of our breaths. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the usual cacophony of nighttime travel. It was as if the highway held its breath, watching us with unseen eyes. The world outside our car windows became a blur of shadows and mystery. The trees lining the highway loomed ominously in the darkness, their branches swaying gently like spectral arms reaching out to us. The moon, usually a comforting presence, seemed to hide behind a veil of clouds, casting an unsettling pallor over the highway. As we drove on, we were consumed by a sense of dread, a creeping realization that we were no longer alone. We were intruders in a realm that didn't belong to us, guests in a world that existed between reality and the supernatural. We were not even halfway through when we realized something was terribly wrong. The haunted highway, with its chilling tales and spectral presence, had us firmly in its grasp, and it wasn't ready to let us go just yet. Suddenly, I felt an icy cold hand on my shoulder. It was as if the very breath of winter had seeped into the car, chilling me to the bone. I felt a weight, a presence, as if someone had hitched a ride with us, an unseen passenger. In the silence of the night, the only sounds were the hum of the car engine and the beating of our hearts. Something was with us in the car, something we couldn't see, something we couldn't explain. My friend, sitting next to me, broke the silence. "Did you feel that?" he asked, his voice trembling. He too had felt the bone-chilling touch, the presence of an unseen entity. The air inside the car seemed to thicken, becoming almost tangible. It was as if we were driving through a dense fog, yet our surroundings were as clear as day. The car felt smaller, more confined. The temperature dropped, our breaths visible in the icy air. We shared a look, a silent agreement passing between us. We were both scared out of our minds. But we had to keep our wits about us, had to keep driving. We were in the middle of nowhere, darkness stretching out on all sides. We tried to make sense of the situation, tried to rationalize it. But the cold, the presence, there was no rational explanation for it. We were not alone in the car. There was a third passenger, an unseen entity hitching a ride. The fear was palpable, a living entity in itself, wrapping its icy tendrils around us, squeezing the breath out of us. Yet we had to keep driving, had to get away from this haunted highway. We were scared out of our wits, but the worst was yet to come. The unseen passenger was just the beginning of our terrifying journey. Little did we know, the road ahead was filled with twists and turns that would send chills down the spines of even the bravest souls. We kept driving, but it felt like we were stuck in a loop. A chill ran down our spines as we realized that the same gnarled tree, the same dilapidated barn, the same cracked mile marker were passing by our windows over and over again. It was as if we were stuck in a horrifying carousel, the night around us spinning but never changing. Despite the speedometer needle dancing at 60, it felt as if we were going nowhere. The road stretched endlessly ahead, a black ribbon disappearing into the inky darkness. We'd been driving for hours, but the landscape remained eerily the same. Time seemed to lose its meaning, each passing minute a mirror image of the last, each second an echo of the one before. In desperation, we turned to the GPS, but the device that should have been our roadmap out of this nightmare was only a contributor to our growing terror. The screen blinked erratically, the digital compass spinning aimlessly. It was as if we were in a place that didn't exist, a location that the satellites couldn't pinpoint. The car became a vessel in a sea of darkness, seemingly moving on its own accord. The steering wheel felt oddly heavy, the gas pedal resistant. It was as if an unseen force was driving us, a spectral chauffeur guiding us deeper into this unending night. We were gripped by an overpowering sense of dread, a primal fear that gnawed at our sanity. The car's interior was our only refuge from the all-consuming darkness outside, a tiny sanctuary under siege. The silence was deafening, broken only by the steady hum of the engine and our ragged breathing. In this chilling void of time and space, we were alone. The world outside the car seemed to have vanished, replaced by an endless looping highway. It was as if we were trapped in a nightmarish painting, a scene that wouldn't change no matter how far we drove. We felt trapped, and there seemed to be no way out. The highway had us in its grip, a monstrous entity that refused to let go. The realization dawned on us that we were not just lost in an unfamiliar place, but lost in time itself. A chilling thought set in. Were we ever going to escape this endless loop of lost time? We had to get out of there, no matter what. Those were the only words that kept echoing in our minds. My best friend and I were trapped in a nightmare, a haunted highway that seemed to stretch into infinity. The unseen passenger had vanished, but the echoes of its chilling presence still lingered. The car seemed to have a mind of its own, driving us deeper into the abyss. But we weren't about to give up just yet. We had to take control. We had to escape. We decided to abandon the car, our only source of shelter, and brave the unknown on foot. The wind howled around us like a pack of ravenous wolves, the cold biting into our very bones. We stumbled on, tripping over unseen obstacles, our hearts pounding against our ribs. The darkness was so thick it felt almost tangible, a suffocating blanket that threatened to smother us. We clung to each other, our only source of comfort in this terrifying ordeal. Our breaths came out in ragged gasps, our bodies shivering uncontrollably. But we pressed on, refusing to succumb to the fear that threatened to consume us. We lost track of time, each moment bleeding into the next. Our minds were a whirlwind of panic and fear, but we held on to the sliver of hope that we would make it out alive. We had to believe that there was a way out, that we could escape this nightmare. Slowly but surely, we started to notice a change. The wind seemed to lessen, the biting cold gradually subsiding. We could see shapes forming in the distance, the outlines of familiar landmarks. We quickened our pace, a new surge of hope coursing through our veins. Suddenly, the first rays of dawn pierced through the darkness, casting a soft glow on the surroundings. We could see the end of the haunted highway, the exit that had eluded us for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, as the sun rose, we found ourselves back on familiar ground. Our hearts were still pounding, our bodies shaking from the ordeal, but we had made it. We had escaped. We were safe. For now. We were safe, but we were not the same. The chilling echo of that night's terror still lingers in our minds, casting long, ominous shadows on our daily lives. Our hearts were still beating, yet a part of us was forever lost on that haunted highway. Haunted by the unseen passenger, sleep became an elusive luxury. Each time we closed our eyes, we were back in that car, the malevolent presence pressing in from all sides. Our dreams twisted into nightmares, a never-ending loop of that fateful drive. The once comforting darkness of night became an eerie reminder of our brush with the paranormal. Our friendship, once light-hearted and jovial, was now tinged with an undercurrent of fear and anxiety. We found solace in each other's company, the only ones who could truly understand the depth of our shared trauma. Conversations that used to revolve around sports and movies were now dominated by talks of the supernatural. As we tried to make sense of our experience, we became cautious, almost paranoid. Every journey, no matter how short, was meticulously planned. We avoided night travels, shying away from the cloak of darkness that had once seemed so innocuous. The thrill of exploring new places was replaced with a deep-seated fear of the unknown. Haunted places, once a source of fascination, became spots to steer clear of. We sought help, reaching out to professionals in an attempt to understand and cope with our experience. We learned about coping mechanisms, about grounding ourselves in reality when the memories threatened to consume us. But more than anything, we learned about the importance of respecting the unknown. The aftermath of that night was a stark reminder of our vulnerability, a lesson in humility. We had dared to tread where we shouldn't have, and we paid the price. We were not invincible. We were just two ordinary men who had stumbled upon the extraordinary. We learned our lesson the hard way, and it's a lesson we will never forget. So, what do you do when you find yourself in a place that fills you with dread? In the dead of night, when everything is shrouded in darkness and your heart beats an unnerving rhythm against your chest, you must trust your instincts. They're your primal, unerring guide in moments of peril. Our tale tonight, a terrifying journey through a haunted highway, a spectral passenger, lost time, and a narrow escape, is a stark reminder of the unseen dangers that lurk in the shadows. Places steeped in eerie history, whispered to be haunted, or located in treacherous terrains are best avoided. These locations, they don't just hold stories of the past, they hold lessons for the living. Lessons of caution, respect for the unseen, and the importance of heeding warnings. Remember, curiosity might lead you to adventure, but it can also lead you into the unknown, and not all unknowns are